when Captain Ibrahim Traoré ordered his soldiers to inspect the sprawling refugee camp near Ouagadougou. Most expected the operation to reveal the usual problems: expired food supplies, black market medicine, or fraudulent aid records. But no one could have predicted what the young leader's army was about to uncover. The soldiers began their sweep cautiously, moving between rows of weather-beaten tents marked with the familiar blue insignia of the European Union. Each tent housed families who had endured years of displacement, men and women surviving on rationed meals, and children sleeping on thin mattresses that barely provided comfort. At first glance, it looked like any other humanitarian camp. But beneath the surface, a scandal of unimaginable proportions lay hidden. A private inn. Traoré's army grew suspicious when he tried to lift a refugee's mattress. It was unusually heavy, not like foam, not like straw. Instead of bending easily, the mattress felt dense, resistant, almost metallic. Cutting open the seams with a knife, the soldier gasped. Thin golden sheets shimmered in the dusty sunlight, layered inside the padding. The so-called bedding was, in truth, a carefully disguised vault. The discovery shocked the soldiers. The refugees had been sleeping on fortunes, billions in gold. Sheets, without ever knowing it. Word spread quickly through the camp. One mattress became 10, then 20, then 53. In every tent, the same discovery awaited. Carefully packed gold hidden inside what looked like ordinary sleeping materials. The soldiers worked feverishly, stacking the sheets into crates. By the end of the search, the camp's supposed humanitarian aid supply had been revealed as a smuggling hub of staggering scale. Traoré's intelligence officers calculated the value. Nearly $20 billion in African gold had been circulating through the refugee camps. As the scandal broke, EU administrators who had overseen the camp were nowhere to be found. Witnesses claimed they fled in the middle of the night, abandoning their offices, cars, and even personal belongings. Their sudden disappearance spoke louder than any denial could. To the refugees, it felt like betrayal. For years, they had believed the European-run camps were shelters of compassion. Instead, they learned they had been used as unwitting couriers in a cynical scheme. Their suffering had been transformed into the perfect camouflage for smuggling. Standing before reporters, Ibrahim Traoré's tone was firm and unshaken. They thought Africa would never see its own wealth again. But we have proven that their lies cannot hide forever. The gold of our people belongs to our people. No one will steal from Africa under my watch. His words resonated far beyond Burkina Faso. Across the continent, leaders, activists, and ordinary citizens celebrated the young captain's boldness. He had not only uncovered corruption but also challenged centuries of exploitation. The Ouagadougou discovery was only the beginning. Traoré ordered raids on 17 additional EU-administered camps scattered across West Africa. Everywhere, the pattern was the same: mattresses, cushions, and even blankets lined with thin sheets of gold. Each camp added billions to the tally, painting a picture of a continental network where aid and theft intertwined seamlessly. Soldiers reported that some refugees wept when they realized the truth. For years, they had begged for medicine and food while unknowingly sleeping on enough wealth to rebuild entire towns. In interviews, refugees described the psychological toll of the discovery. One woman, Mariam, recounted, "My son died from sickness last year because the camp hospital had no medicine. Now I learn that while he was dying, we slept on gold. How can I forgive them?" Another man whispered with disbelief, "They made us their mules, but we were too blind to see it. We thought the EU gave us help, but they took more than we could ever imagine." The sense of betrayal spread like fire. News of the scandal quickly reached Europe, where shocked citizens demanded answers. How could billions in gold pass through humanitarian programs without oversight? Who signed the papers? Who looked the other way? And who profited? European officials scrambled to release statements. Some denied knowledge, others promised investigations. But the silence of the missing camp administrators told a different story. The scandal threatened to shatter the already fragile trust between Europe and Africa. For many Africans, the gold scandal was more than just a crime. It was a symbol of centuries of resource extraction, where foreign powers enriched themselves while Africans lived in poverty. Traoré became a rallying figure, Social media buzzed with hashtags like hashtag Gold for Africa and hashtag No More Theft. Artists painted murals of mattresses splitting open to reveal golden light. Refugee voices, once ignored, became central to the debate about justice and sovereignty. Analysts later pieced together how the scheme worked. Gold mined illegally across the continent was smelted into thin sheets, light enough to be hidden in bedding. Refugees, constantly moving, unknowingly carried this cargo across borders, where it was collected, repackaged, and shipped overseas. It was the perfect disguise. No customs officer would cut open a mattress belonging to a displaced family. Compassion had been weaponized as cover for theft. By the time the investigation concluded, Burkina Faso had reclaimed massive quantities of gold. Some were stored in state reserves, some redirected into development programs, and some displayed in public exhibitions as proof of what had been stolen. The scandal changed everything. Humanitarian aid would never again be accepted at face value. Refugees demanded not only food and shelter but transparency and dignity. And Africa, under leaders like Traoré, declared that its wealth would never again be hidden in the shadows of exploitation. As Traoré himself declared, "We found gold in the place they thought was most hidden, in the suffering of our people. But we will turn that suffering into strength, and we will never again let others profit from our pain."